When you were 8, summer vacation felt approximately 4 centuries long. Birthdays took forever to arrive. A school week could contain several geological eras. Even a boring afternoon had room for an entire civilization. Then adulthood happened. January became April. April became September. And someone casually informed you that a movie from 2010 is now old. The clocks still tick at exactly the same speed. So why does life feel as if somebody pressed fast forward? The tempting answer is that your internal clock simply speeds up as your body gets older. But the science is much messier and far more interesting. Your brain does not use one master stopwatch for every kind of time. Seconds, boring meetings, exciting weekends, and the previous 10 years are not judged by exactly the same mental process. To solve the mystery, we first need to separate two experiences that feel similar but work very differently. The first is perspective time, judging duration while it's happening. Imagine waiting for a kettle to boil while staring directly at it. Every second receives your full attention. Because you keep checking the passage of time, the minute can feel painfully long. Now spend the same minute inside a great conversation or a difficult game. Your attention goes to the activity instead of the clock. The minute seems to vanish. This can happen at any age. Attention changes the experience of duration right now. The second process is retrospective time, deciding later how long a day, year, or decade seemed. For that judgment, your brain cannot replay every second. It reconstructs the interval from remembered events, changes, and boundaries. It looks for mental postcards, the first day, the unexpected trip, the new friend, the terrible haircut, the moment everything changed. An interval packed with distinctive landmarks can feel large when you look back at it. An interval made of similar days can be stored more like a summary. Work, dinner, laundry, repeat. Nothing was missing while you lived those days. But memory files repeated experiences efficiently instead of saving 60 identical Tuesdays in high definition. Childhood naturally supplies landmarks. So much is happening for the first time. Your first classroom, your first sleepover, your first solo journey across the terrifying wilderness known as the neighborhood. You are learning new rules, meeting new people, and constantly updating your model of how the world works. Adults often build stable routines because routines are useful. You learn the commute, automate the chores, and stop examining every cereal aisle like an explorer. The cost is that similar days create fewer distinctive retrieval cues when you later ask, "Where did the year go?" This memory explanation is influential, but it is not the one proven answer to the entire phenomenon. Studies do not find one simple age effect across every time scale and every task. Age differences may be small when people judge the previous week or month, yet clearer when they judge the previous 10 years. In laboratory timing tasks, older adults sometimes estimate or produce short intervals differently from younger adults. One study asked 2-3 people to mentally produce 2 minutes. The oldest group stopped earlier on average than the youngest group. That is interesting, but a 2-minute counting task is not the same question as why your 30s disappeared. Short timing can involve attention, working memory, decision strategies, and distributed brain circuits associated with movement and reward. Aging can change some of those ingredients, including the precision and variability of temporal judgments. But that does not prove a single biological clock is racing faster inside every older brain. Then there is the famous proportional theory. At age 5, 1 year equals 20% of your entire life. At age 50, 1 year equals only 2%. So perhaps each year feels smaller because it is compared with a much larger collection of years. It is elegant, intuitive, and mathematically satisfying. It is also a conceptual model, not a complete established mechanism in the brain. Another clue comes from how much future we believe we have left. As the future horizon feels more limited, people may organize goals, activities, and emotional priorities differently. Research has found that older adults sometimes report greater time acceleration during productive everyday activities, but not equally during every kind of activity. Surprisingly, time passing quickly can also accompany positive evaluations. Fast time is not always evidence that life is being wasted. A joyful dinner may fly by in the moment and still become a rich memory later. A boring day may crawl while you live it, then leave almost nothing behind in memory. That creates the central paradox of subjective time. What feels long now can look short later. What feels fast now can look wonderfully large in retrospect. Think about an unfamiliar trip. During the trip, packed schedules can make each day race. Months later, the same week may feel enormous because it contains dozens of unique scenes and clear boundaries. Meanwhile, a familiar week can feel ordinary while it happens and nearly disappear when viewed from December. Emotion matters too. Stress, boredom, excitement, sadness, and absorption can all pull subjective time in different directions. Culture, workload, health, life stage, and personality also shape the answer. Two people of the same age may experience a year very differently. So the phrase time speeds up as you age hides several overlapping effects beneath one convenient sentence. Can you slow it down? You cannot slow the clock, and there is no scientifically guaranteed trick that makes life feel twice as long. But you can influence how richly a period is encoded and how many landmarks it leaves behind. Novelty does not require moving to another country every Tuesday. Take a different route, learn a skill, cook something unfamiliar, or visit a new part of town. Break long stretches into chapters. A monthly project, a seasonal ritual, or a planned day trip gives memory more boundaries to hold on to. Record a few specific details in a journal or photo log. Not every lunch, but moments that distinguish this week from the previous one. And sometimes, deliberately return attention to the present. The temperature of the air, the sound of the room, the face across the table. There's a balance. Constant novelty can become exhausting, and obsessively monitoring time can make a pleasant hour feel like a waiting room. The goal is not to make every minute feel slow. It is to give your weeks enough meaning and variation that they do not collapse into one generic file. So why does time feel faster as you get older? First, because judging time in the moment depends heavily on where attention goes. Second, looking backward depends on memory landmarks, and stable routines can produce fewer distinctive ones. Third, age can change timing precision, priorities, activity patterns, and the future horizon, but not in one uniform way. And the fraction of life idea is a helpful metaphor, not the final scientific verdict. The clock has never been stealing your years. Your brain has been editing them. If you want life to look longer from the future, give memory more scenes worth keeping.